Hello and welcome to Young Turks, India's longest running show on startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Shireen Bhan. Let me start by wishing all our viewers and your families a very happy Diwali from all of us here at CNBC-TV18. As we invoke the goddess of wealth and prosperity this Diwali, it is a time of celebration and new beginnings. And talking of new beginnings, early stage venture capital Indian Angel Networks has launched a 1,000 crore rupee fund. The Alpha Fund, with a 650 crore rupee corpus, carries a green shoe option of 350 crore rupees and will pick up disruptive ideas across sectors with a focus on tech-led innovation and startups solving real problems who can also boast of unit economics at scale. Now, set up in 2006, Indian Angel Network has seeded and incubated startups with a market valuation of over $9 billion and boasts of 3 unicorns and 5 soonicorns in its portfolio. While the new Alpha Fund aims to keep an eye on interesting ideas from Tier 1 cities, the spotlight will be on the Bharat market as it picks founders who are building innovative solutions to solve problems. In terms of sectors, clean tech, healthcare, fintech, SaaS, logistics, and D2C, along with emerging themes in space tech, Web3, manufacturing tech, and more. Well, this is music to the ears of startups reeling in what is turning out to be a long funding winter, as funding has hit a 2-year low of $2.7 billion in the third quarter of calendar year 2020, according to estimates by PwC. Having said that, early stage is the silver lining, accounting for 70% of total funding in the quarter. And if we look at the year-to-date data, seed funding in 2022 at $943 million has already surpassed $866 million raised in 2021. Well, joining me now for this exclusive conversation are Padmaja Ruparel, the Senior Managing Partner of Indian Angel Network, Jaideep Mehta, Managing Partner of Indian Angel Network, and Saurabh Srivastava, the Chairman of the Indian Angel Network. Padmaja and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Mr. Srivastava, let's talk about this new fund. To start with, you know, everyone at this point in time is talking about a funding winter. The jury is out on how long it's going to last, how cold the winter is going to be. But take me through the point of view of Indian Angel Network and what you intend to do as far as this fund is concerned.
So, Shireen, the funding winter is for certain kind of startups. You know, the ones that are sort of spending like there's no tomorrow, there's no line of sight to profitability, all of that. But for the kind of companies we fund, seed and early stage, this is the best time to invest because, you know, founders have realistic sense on valuations. It brings forth founders who really are confident of themselves, who want to invest, who want to actually do startups in different areas. And if you look around historically, some of the best startups happened when things were tough, when we had your so-called funding winters. And also historically, if you look at it, there's a cycle. You know, every 7 to 10 years, you have an up and a down. There's a boom and bust in 2000, and there was one in 2008. This keeps happening. And we're not really at all bothered about public markets because the startups we're funding, I mean, they'll go public 8 years from now. So who cares? So I think for us, this is a very good time to invest. We are not seeing really any slowdown in the quality and the number of startups that are coming to see us. So this fund was a necessity because we simply ran out of money investing from the first fund. And I just add that actually, for us, it's just not one more fund. Because, you know, we had started IN 15 years ago as a movement, not just as one more angel group, one more fund. We really wanted to create a platform that would invest in like 500 companies, about 5,000 crores, create like 500,000 jobs. So for us, this is a continuing, absolute continuum. So we're looking forward to this fund.
Oh, yes, looking forward to this fund. Let me get Padmaja and Jaideep to weigh in on what we just heard there from Saurabh Srivastava. Padmaja, let's address this issue about what you intend to do with this particular fund. And as Saurabh Srivastava was pointing out, the silver lining has been that seed investment continues to hold and hold very strong. And the indigestion, in the words of Nikesh Arora, in a conversation that he was having with me, at least as far as some of the larger, startup plays are concerned, that indigestion has not yet fully settled. So it's not that valuations have corrected, but perhaps there is still more room for further correction. But Padmaja, what is exciting you about the quality of the startups that you're looking at, about the strength of the business model, about the line of sight in terms of profitability and unit economics? What gives you the confidence at this point in time to make these bets?
Thank you, first of all, Shireen, for having me here. I wanted to wish you and the audience a very, very happy Diwali. Taking off from where Mr. Srivastav left it, we are a 15-year-old organization. And one of the things that we've been tracking right through these 15 years is the quality of companies and quality of founders and quality of innovation that is coming in. We get 10,000 deals a year, and each year we see more innovative, higher quality entrepreneurs going startups. They're going down the path of creating their own businesses, and this is extremely exciting. And that's what has really raised this whole interest to raise the fund and invest. That's number one. Throughout our history of IN, we've been investing and breeding startups with solutions which are actually solving real problems. We are not looking at investing in one more app on the 6-inch device. There are tons of real problems in the country. The interesting part is there are entrepreneurs from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities in the country who are trying to build solutions for them. And India is such a large market that if the solution works in this country, it will surely work in some other part of the world. So we are looking at entrepreneurs and we are finding them, those who are solving real problems and can scale and go global. The second thing that we've always looked at, and we will continue to do it, is that we want to invest in companies which build hockey stick revenue lines, top lines, but are also looking at the bottom line. Yes, of course, when we invest, companies will not be profitable. They will have burns. That's why we are required. But at some point, they have to go profitable. Conversations on gross margin, unit economics, focus on cash flow becomes extremely important for us. And I think it has stood the test of time for IN. We have low failure rates, and we've seen companies which have done really well, not only on valuation, but they've become sustainable businesses where marquee investors have invested behind us. The third thing I think is very important is the entrepreneur for us. That's absolutely centerpiece. Entrepreneurs who understand what is the customer's need, what's the pain point that they are solving through their solution, and how they will scale it in an innovatively evolving business. Entrepreneurs need to be, for us, those who can really build businesses in terms of scale, who can lead teams, who can take it global, who can take it national, who can take it global. So I think for us, and this is something I think we've learned over the years, that we really look for those 2 founders, 3 co-founders who can make big businesses and yet make sure that they're sustainable, they have a bottom line at some point, and they are being able to create very valuable companies, not just valuation-based companies. So I think that's what our 15 years of history has taught us, and it has stood the test of time. We've been returning monies to investors year on year. So I think that is what we continue to build on.
In light of the experience that you've already had and the companies that you've already invested in, is there going to be a specific focus on some areas, clean tech, electric mobility, etc., Padmaja just spoke of, but anything that you intend to sharply focus on via this new fund?
One of the purposes of IN is to really help and catalyze in the creation of companies which make for a better society and which really help in terms of, repairing some of the damage we've done to our environment, women upliftment and so on. Not to repeat what Padmaja just said, but to stress on those themes here. And we certainly will be looking for organizations which are building businesses where, in our view, there isn't a trade-off between what we would call good business and climate positive business, or good business or gender inclusive business. We've got several investments in our past in Fund One and through our angel group, which are clear evidence that there doesn't need to be any trade-off at all. So that's one part. The second part, IIM always has been at the forefront of helping organizations and companies which are investing in cutting edge technologies. So space tech, Web3, these are some of the other areas. AI, Unifor, you listed as one of our, unicorns from our portfolio. These are organizations where when we invested in Unifor, it was 6 years ago. AI was just about beginning to happen. Similarly, we've got a couple of space tech companies in the Fund One portfolio from 3 or 4 years ago. So we believe that we should also be looking to catalyze nation building from a new tech perspective in some of these new areas where India deserves to be a leader on the world stage. And we certainly believe, we buy into the India story completely. We believe we have everything it takes from a perspective of talent, technology, business smarts, etc. And we are here to provide money, mentoring, and market access where possible, which is what I call the M3 mantra of IAN. So those are going to be some of the themes that we're going to be looking at. Indians building world-beating companies, whether they be from tier 1 cities or tier 3, tier 4 cities, and so on. And indeed, Indians building companies which make for a better world and better societies.
In terms of being able to leverage the IIN network, both domestically as well as globally, how much of that is going to be prioritized as you make these fresh investments, as you build on this India story? How is IIN itself going to change, both in terms of bringing new members on board, adding new capabilities, given the fact that, many of these areas that you're now investing in are nascent technologies, new technologies. So give me the landscape of how you intend bringing in these changes.
So, Shireen, that's probably the most important piece that you're talking about, because we sort of not, as I said, one more angel group or angel fund. We grew because when I did Infinity, which was, I think, the first VC fund in the private sector, maybe 99 or 2000, we realized that actually we didn't have a nursery of really good startups that were mentored. And so we didn't have enough deal flow. We were very lucky to be able to invest in companies like India Bulls and vendors, for example. So when we started the angel group, IAN, the whole idea was that we need to provide not just money, but support, advice, access to our networks, and hold their hands, because startups are in a position where their success depends very dramatically, very substantially on how much support, how much help, how much advice they can get. It's a difference between startups that succeed and startups that fail. So that was a very important part. And the whole idea was we got a group of 500 odd, CIOs, CXOs, successful entrepreneurs, the who's who, to come invest and also help. And that is what has created a scenario where over 15 years, we had a very low failure rate. 15, 20%. We're running an IRR consistently of 28%, 27, 29% because of this handholding. So the idea of the fund came as an extension of that, saying, look, we're doing the first check, 2 crores, 3 crores. What if they need 5 crores, 8 crores, 9 crores? Let's do that and provide them the same support and the same help. And that's now the extension of taking it further. So the check size will go up on an aggregate, Shireen. It was 9 crores last time. It'll go up this time to a slightly larger number, probably 16 to 18 crores across the life of the investment. But the single biggest thing, why will it work? It'll work for the reasons that the angel group and IAN and Fund One worked, which is that when we invest, we have Padmaja, Jaydeep, and now Vinod holding their hands. We have an investment committee of a number of us who've been around for a long time, done startups, made mistakes, succeeded, sort of understood what life is about. So there's people like me and, Raman Roy, Ajay Chaudhary, whole lot of us. We chip in and we mentor these companies. We spend time with them. Each one of us adopts some of these companies. So whether it's their strategy, whether they need to be introduced to people who will help, we don't let them at any time feel that they are not supported.
Padmaja, what's the target that you've set for yourself at the Indian Angel Network? You were talking about impact, and so I want to understand from you on the back of the impact already created by leveraging the capital that you've deployed, and more importantly, now the vision for the future. What's the kind of impact that you intend to make? What are the targets that you've set for yourself? And both Jaydeep and you spoke about wanting to focus on women founders. And that is something that I want to pick your brains on a little bit more, because it continues to be a very uneven playing field. The startup ecosystem continues to be skewed in favor of male founders today. So what are you specifically doing to address that challenge?
So let me just build a little bit on what we've done so that it sort of gives you a background. Till date, we've invested about 900 crores of this platform. And what we've been able to do is leverage that 900 crores, and companies have raised 18,000 crores behind this investment. So one of the things that we've probably been able to do is to handhold companies and help them scale early, so that their next rounds, and they are being able to scale, they're being able to attract good marquee investors and actually go global. So that is something which is a foundation on which we do plan to build in the Alpha Fund as well, to make sure that we are not only investing money, but we're investing time and mind space and the right expertise from wherever we get it. With the IN ecosystem itself is quite rich with that. That's number one. Number two, we've invested in about 200 companies, Shireen, and about 45 companies are founded by women co-founders, right? And I think what we are seeing increasingly on this front is we're seeing very, very high quality women in leading very I would say, breaking technologies. Think about the company Astrom, which is into 5G technologies. Neha Satark is leading that. And she's actually been able to not only create a technology which is breaking technology, but actually aligning with the 5G rollout of the country. And this is going to change the way our tier 2, tier 3 and rural people sort of access internet, right? And she's been able to get global money into her company. So I think this is something which really excites us. And we're seeing a lot of companies in biotech which are led by women. So overall, I think this 20%, a little over 20% that we've invested today in women-led companies, my sense is this will go up dramatically. The third thing that I think we want to really do is, while we are investing in a lot of the global plays like SaaS, and Jaydeep spoke about space tech, etc., but we do want to focus on what what is really called climate or development kind of propositions. Today, the world needs that. There has been a huge focus, and rightly so, to my mind, where innovative solutions are just have to be built, not only for India, but for around the world. And we're seeing actually entrepreneurs build these from ground up. So I think we will have a focus on development from this fund, which we will want to also then be able to track, because you want to also build companies which are genetically thinking about the right things, if I may use that word, in terms not only of governance and compliance and all of that, but also ensuring that they are not impacting society adversely, but actually positively. And I think this fund, we want to make that that little paradigm shift in making sure that we are embedding all of these things. And the last piece that I think I want to talk about is, when we were doing our last fund, we saw a number of opportunities in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. I've been walking the streets, Odisha, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh. We've all been walking those states which are not common, in the usual VC parlance. But the opportunities that are coming out of there is phenomenal. And the founders of those companies are people who have absolutely, they are determined that they will build businesses. And I think those are the companies that we would like to support, because they actually will change not only their lives, not only their stakeholders' life, but society around them.
Yeah.
Because that will bring a huge value add to the community.
Well, we hope that the 1,000 crore rupee Alpha Fund launched by the Indian Angel Network and first announced here on Young Turks does create the kind of impact that Padmaja Jaideep and Saurabh Srivastav have spoken of. We wish you and the team at IAN the very best of luck. As always, thanks so much for joining us. And we hope that the tribe of young entrepreneurs well, actually, why just young entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs continues to grow, and may the tribe of women entrepreneurs grow as well. We hope that we see a much more robust, deep ecosystem develop. A happy Diwali to all of you, and thanks so much for joining us here on Young Turks. That's it then on this edition of Young Turks. We will take a break. There's a lot more coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a moment with more.